Well, it was obviously a huge call and a huge point of discussion here over the last day and a half in Oakland and around the basketball universe, for that matter. Fans at home, you should know there are 15 triggers for video review, study, prepare yourself for game 2, because there was a lot of confusion about this rule in the arena, out in the world, as folks are scrambling to figure out not only which part is reviewable, but what the officials can then do. This is not only going to have an impact on this game 1, I think it's going to have an impact on the rules moving forward, because there was an outcry. You heard from Jeff Van Gendry, and I completely agree with that point. The review is one thing. To be allowed to change the call after your review is a whole other thing, and it's kind of antithetical to the idea that reviews don't change judgment calls. For the two of you, the last day and a half has led you to what position on not only the rule but the way it was executed?
And and you're right, Matt. There's so many different parts. I think the first you start off, it's a judgment call without the triggers. A judgment call is tough. A block charge is probably the toughest call in basketball. Second, what triggers you to be able to go look at the block charge? And obviously a lot of people were thinking about the rules, because I had a lot of people call and text me. I thought they only can review if he was in or out of the restricted area. That was the trigger to be able to go to the monitor, and once you get to the monitor, you can then make a judgment call, well, not a judgment call, change the call on whether that was a block charge.
I think that is a judgment.
And that is a judgment. You're right, Matt. And I think for me, the hard part for me is how close or how far that you got to be away from the restricted area to make it a trigger. Because for me, then you start, that's the gray area for me. Because Matt, you could have been at the free throw line. He's in a restricted area. And then that's where to be a chance to have that trigger. What is the definition of how far, how close you need to be to the restricted area?
That is really interesting as well, because we spoke with Joe Borgia after the game, and the verbiage they use is reasonably uncertain as to whether or not he was in the restricted area. Well, what does that mean?
And to that point, for me, Matt, I texted Joe Borgia right away. I said, Joe, it's time to bring back our show, Making the Call. Because now we have to educate the fan. Because as you get deeper into the playoffs, a lot of these triggers, Matt, the casual fan does not know. You know it, Matt. You know it, Smitty. Most rules, because we've been around the league. We ask the league each year, how do the rules change? What does the trigger really mean? Judgment calls, well, so many judgment calls throughout a game. How does the referee know what to do? And to Ty Lue's point, with the naked eye, it looked like LeBron was clearly out.
No, they looked like he was clearly out.
From Ty's angle. From Ty's angle, it looked that way, but the other referee said there's no way he was close. I mean, that far away from Ty's point. So, once again, how do we educate the fan more to understand what the referees are going through?
In their defense, it's happening in real time, right?
Yes.
We always have to remember that. We've seen it 1,000 times now on review. It's possible from one angle or another that you're not certain about where he is relative to that line. That is a possibility. Anyway, the Cavaliers still obviously had their chance to win the game. If George Hill hits both of his free throws, then they're up a point with four seconds roughly left on the clock in regulation. Obviously, that did not happen. Made for very, very long Thursday night for Hill.
I don't think anything got me through the night. You know, I stayed up most of the night, you know, rewatching the free throw, rewatching the play, just going over in my head what I think went wrong and things like that. So as a player, a competitive guy, you know, I was put in a situation to help my team win a game, and I didn't come through. So for me, it sucked. It was one of the worst feelings ever. But I have great teammates that, you know, been in my ear even last night and this morning, telling me to forget about it, continue to just focus on the next game and don't let it linger. So it is what it is. You know, I blew that opportunity, but the good thing is it's a 7-game series and we have another game on Sunday.
What would you say to George Hill if you're practicing out there today?
Just like LeBron's told him, you got to move on. You played basketball many games. You've been around the game for many years. We've all missed a free throw before. Obviously, it's game 1, a chance for you to go up 1 and have an opportunity to win that game. That's going to be in the back of your mind. So for LeBron James and me being around him, Smitty, the last 2 weeks watching the Eastern Conference Final, his leadership, in my opinion, will help George Hill and J.R. Smith get over those blunders and move on for game 2.
And totally right, Matt. I think that's when you need your teammates. And I think also if I'm George Hill, I want to have that play again. I want to be able to play again. And this is not like the Super Bowl. That's that one game. Good thing about basketball is a 7-game series. This is just game 2. You want to be in position again to be able to knock down free throws. That's the competitor should be in George Hill. He's been around. He should want to get back to that same position and knock down some free throws to give his team a chance to tie or win in big moments. moments. And I think for them is, if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, we all said it, you want to win every game, but really you want to leave Oakland with one game. That's when you've done your job. It could have been game one, but I think they still have a chance in game two. This would have been devastating if this was game two and they're going back 0-2 to Cleveland, but they have a chance again tomorrow.
You know, it's interesting. He said he was watching the free throw he missed. Would you want to watch the free throw?
No, I don't think so. I think if you know, we all go through our mechanics and our routines. If I went through my mechanics and routines, then I just got to trust it. I want to get in the gym, though, Matt. I would probably be somewhere right here saying Maroon 5. You couldn't have the concert last night until I get a chance to shoot some free throws. But I don't know if I would. I would love to watch the game over and over and over, but not the free throw.
Well, and there's the other part of the equation, obviously. Do you guys, who do you believe after the game? Ty Lue, who said that J.R. Smith didn't know the score, or J.R. Smith, who said, of course I knew the score?
Well, if you read J.R.'s lips, he said, I thought we had it, when he looked over to LeBron.
I thought we were ahead. That's what it looks like.
So I'm going to go with those right there. So the first part is, obviously, you hope George Hill makes a shot. A lot of people were in uproar because they thought J.R. Smith bumped KD. No, KD was assuming George Hill was going to make that shot, so he went in for the rebound lackadaisical. So I was thinking, Smitty, if I get the rebound, if I know time and score, KD's probably going to foul me in that situation because he's mad because I got the rebound. So that lets me know JR thought they had the lead.
Yeah, and I think, Matt, just what 3D said, I think also for all basketball players, no time, score, and how many timeouts you have.
Especially at the end of game one of the NBA Finals.
And then I think second for JR. J.R. Smith did not lose the game. He just didn't get a chance to have the Cavs win the game. So I think people are looking at JR lost the game. JR didn't lose the game. He didn't win. He had an opportunity to win the game for the Cavs, and he didn't. And then they went to overtime. For him, is he got to come out and be aggressive. But give JR a lot of credit to get a rebound down there, and they be able to come up with that rebound. Probably should have called time up or should have went back up with it.
He didn't lose the game, but he didn't help them win the game. That's for sure.
What I said. But everybody's saying it's JR's fault. I don't think he lost the game.
That's one play. That's one 4-second stretch of an entire game with overtime included. But remarkably, J.R. Smith was a -20 in an overtime game. That's hard to do. He did not play particularly well, and you saw the play with Steph Curry at the end of the second quarter where he goes for the steal and allows Curry to hit one of those momentum-changing threes.
I'm just very shocked for me, guys, that J.R. Smith has not been that guy we've seen throughout his career. On both ends of the floor. At one point in time, he's a solid defender. He could guard his man, keep it in front of him. That slipped a little bit. But the fact that Ty Lue's told me numerous times he has the green light to go hunt down shots, and he's not going to do it, that's very shocking to me this deep into the playoffs.
Cavs got to hit some threes as well. They were 6 of 20 on wide open threes.